on the tech of a submarine. It's the concealed weapon of the sea, zeroing in on its prey from deep within the ocean, stealthily carrying out its mission, operating with deadly efficiency. It's the most feared and the most dangerous of all seagoing weaponry, the submarine. It seems as easy as the flip of a switch. A sub fires its torpedo. But what makes that moment possible? How does a cigar-shaped hunk of steel navigate the ocean depths for prolonged periods of time? How does it create and sustain a survivable environment for the people on board? And how does it win its deadly game of hide and seek? We'll focus on the technology that produces that defining moment. The moment a sub zeroes in on a target and fires. Often called sewer tubes, pig boats, and iron coffins, submarines snoop around in areas where they're not welcome. Countries have legal authority over waters 200 miles from their coastlines, but subs are built to undermine that security and keep the enemy within arm's reach. Lieutenant Commander Darren Knight is an intelligence specialist for the Canadian Navy.
Historically, in the Cold War, we've always looked at the Russian Navy as the main threat. The fact is the number of countries around the world with submarines is increasing. And what we have now is a fairly open marketplace with some extensive technology available for anybody with the right kind of money and desire to go out and buy it.
Up until 2000, Canada patrolled her waters with 3 Oberon-class diesel-electric subs, the Ojibwa, the Okanagan, and the Onondaga, which they bought from the British back in 1965. This mini-armada wasn't known to make superpowers quiver in their boots, but they've played an important role in training exercises for the U.S. and Canadian Navy. First world navies rely almost entirely on nuclear-powered subs, but countries like China, India, Pakistan, Iran, and North Korea still maintain diesel-electric submarines. Canada's Oberons have offered the chance to train in the detection and evasion of similar subs, something the nuclear-powered subs of the U.S. Navy cannot do. Canada is now replacing them with 4 Victoria-class subs built by the British back in the 1980s. And while the saltwater-logged Oberon subs are now part of Canadian naval history, they provide a unique look into what submarine warfare is all about. Where things have pretty much remained the same, even for the guy on board the most advanced nuclear subs, diving, hiding, and hitting has always been and always will be the name of the game. The same rules apply. Depths are dangerous. Life on board is hard. Targets are watching their tails for predators. We'll board the Ojibwa for one of its last training missions to understand the technology involved in identifying a target and firing the torpedo. Life on a submarine is like living inside the chamber of a giant underwater gun. The Submariner is definitely a soldier with a unique profile.
I'm a Submariner. Quite proud of it.
His likes include cramped quarters, card games by glow stick light, and polishing his naval equivalent to a pilot's wings.
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted them dolphins, and now I'm going to get them. It's the last thing I did.
Trainee Robert Jones is quickly learning what the Submariner's dislikes are.
The people who serve on the surface become known as surface pukes or skimmers.
They call us sputs. Surface pukes under training.
The main purpose of the Submariner is to get a skimmer or a surface ship in his crosshairs. In order to have that chance, he'll endure more than most soldiers.
A bloke wrote to the Department of Agriculture. He gave them the dimensions for the forward mess, which holds approximately 19 people, and said, what can I breed in this area? And this guy worked out that he could actually safely provide, humanely, for approximately 2.5 pigs in that space.
It's 295 feet long. It has a diameter of 18 feet. It's slightly over 2,000 tons displacement. It's home to nominally in between 65 and 75 personnel.
No wonder these guys feel a kinship with the sardine.
You have absolutely no privacy. You have to be able to work in a confined space. You have to be able to deal with problems in that space from 2 or 3 days at sea up to 6 or 7 weeks at sea.
49 days at sea with 70 other men and only 3 puny bathrooms to go around. They're lucky to squeeze in 1 shower a week. It's no surprise that their uniforms are called poopy suits. The fact of the matter is, even though these guys are essential to run the sub, their personal requirements always take a back seat to the needs of the sub.
As you can see, it's tight accommodations. Most of the guys sleep with valves, main vents in their racks. This is my pit. It's one of the luxury top racks around here.
It is luxury compared to the sleeping accommodations in the torpedo room.
They're a fiberglass bunk. The curve matches that of the torpedo, so they fit right in the racks. We ratchet them down, throw a couple inches of foam on it, and call it home.
That's $3 million worth of guided explosives he's sleeping with. But bombs aren't the only things that can make a submariner nervous.
When you go to your bed at night, your bunk, sometimes you have those so-called dreams.
And I've seen guys wake up in the middle of the morning or something like that, shouting, screaming, and having coffin dreams while they're sleeping.
Every once in a while you find some guy scratching at the hatch.
Weeks on end in cramped quarters can take its toll. But the guys on board believe the stress and strain is worth it.
When you sign the dotted line, you've put yourself into a position of sacrifice. You've said that I am willing to go to sea for my nation and, if necessary, die.
Coming up on the tech of a submarine, the controlled sinking of a submarine, and the tools it uses to find its way through the dark. Taking a sub for a dive is a touch-and-go process. Like a sinking ship, it submerges by taking on water.
Make tight, diving now, diving now.
Hey there, diving now, diving now.
Open main vents.
Open main vents.
Ballast tanks line both sides of the sub. When the valves at the top and bottom of those tanks are open, water rushes in, forcing air out. When the overall density of the sub is greater than that of the surrounding water, it begins to sink. This is called negative buoyancy.
Full dive on the planes.
Full dive on the planes.
75 back to 55.
75 back to 55, roger.
The dive is controlled with hydroplanes. The one at the bow is angled to pull the nose down, while the one at the stern is angled to push the tail up. As more air escapes the ballast tanks, the sub continues to dive.
It's more like an airplane, and it's like 3-dimension. You have your course, you have your depth, you have the angle of the submarine.
We're moving very slowly, 3 knots for 70 or 80 miles outside of Halifax.
And all these different gauge in here tells you, will help you to keep the submarine in a level fashion.
The sub has a system of compensating tanks which are used to maintain neutral buoyancy and keep the sub bottom heavy, topside up and level. The sub is now prowling below the surface, ready to seek and destroy. The Ojibwa has 2 propellers, with drive shafts connected to motors which can be powered by 2 diesel engines, or 2 batteries housed below. The diesels are primarily used to charge the batteries. But a sub can only run on diesel power when it's on the surface, or close enough to extend a snort induction mast, which sucks air in needed to power the diesels. The ball-shaped housing on top of the mast encloses a float valve that keeps seawater out. This is known as snorkeling, or snorting. And the Ojibwa can do it at depths of up to 55 feet. The batteries take up a lot of space.
is a number 2 main battery. We have 2 batteries on board. There's 224 cells down here. Each cell is approximately 3.5 feet high, weighs in the average of 1,100 pounds. With both batteries fully charged, we've got approximately 48 hours of silent running down here.
When the sub switches over to battery power, everything quiets down. The sub silently works below the surface. In the control room, crewmen hunt for a skimmer. If the Ojibwa is within 63 feet of the surface, the captain can use the periscope.
This is the search periscope, or the after periscope of the submarine. We have 2, and is perhaps the most important sensor on board the submarine. At all times when the submarine is at periscope depth, this periscope will be up, unless we're trying to be very sneaky. I have elevation on this side, which allows me to look directly above, or even at a small down angle. I have lever on the other side, which takes me from low power to high power.
A hydraulic motor helps spin the heavy periscope. It's not used to take aim at a target like in war movies. It's a tool for target identification. Down deep, it's all about the sound.
Your sonar is your ears, and because we don't have windows, the only thing we can do is use our ears.
The dome on the bow is where the Ojibwa houses both active and passive sonar. Passive sonar determines the range and bearing of the object by picking up the sound it makes. Active sonar sends out sound pulses that bounce off the object, or contact, as submariners call it. If the contact turns out to be an enemy, it becomes a target. By measuring the time it takes for the sound wave to return, a computer can calculate the distance and direction to a contact. The problem is, that pulse can reveal the position of the sub, so active sonar is rarely used. A ship's sound is like its signature. A computer can interpret the sounds made by a ship as it passes through the water, and match that signature sound with a computer database that holds samples of the sound each ship makes, whether warship or oil tanker. But a good human ear has proved more reliable than even the best computer programs.
When we hear other ships, we'll hear cavitation off of them. And what that is when the blades are cutting through the water, they'll create bubbles. And with the pressure, these bubbles will collapse and they'll make a noise. From this cavitation, you can tell how many shafts a ship has, how many blades are on each of its screws. From that, you can mainly get a classification of a unit.
If the sonar operator cannot identify the contact, then the sub must go back up to periscope depth to get a visual ID. But the longer a sub remains near the surface, the more likely it will be detected. So, rather than park the sub on the surface and stare at the contact through the periscope operator will snap a photo in a matter of seconds.
Down!
And dive as quickly as possible. They can study the picture at a safe depth. And if the contact turns out to be a target, the sonar has a lock on it. Seeking is only half the game. When we return to the tech of a submarine, how a sub finds hiding places in the ocean as we near firing sequence. If a surface ship is on the lookout for a hostile sub, the submariners will know it instantly.
You hear this ping that comes onto you, and it echoes off on your hull and goes back to the other ship. So like you see it in all the old movies. It's true.
But the ocean has invisible hiding places. Seawater consists of layers with differing levels of temperature, pressure, and salinity. Sound waves bounce off and break up on these layers, like light through a prism. Data gathered from a temperature probe called a bathythermograph shows the submariner where those layers are.
You can get a layer like here, and the sound will curve over that layer and will not come under that layer, so you can hide directly under that and nobody can hear you from the surface.
Those sonic dark spots only offer partial protection because pings and pops aren't the only sounds all this sensitive equipment can detect.
Right now we're very slow and quite deep, trying to stay out of the sound channel as much as possible so that his transmissions can't detect us.
A tense silence dominates the sub as everyone sits tight. And while the men quietly man their posts, the submarine endures its own form of stress. As the sub dives, the unsettling sound of steel settling under pressure can be heard. This is called quelching. The deeper the sub goes, the louder the quelching. If a sub goes too deep, it reaches what's known as its crush depth, although crush depth varies from sub to sub and is always classified. It's acknowledged that the Oberon's peacetime maximum dive depth is around 500 feet. If a sub exceeds crush depth, it doesn't implode as many people think. Under tremendous pressure, a seam or valve will give way. Then water will force its way in, seeking to equalize the pressure inside the sub with the pressure outside. For the submariner, crushing isn't an instant or painless death. After more than a day below periscope depth, battery power is running low.
Our battery's down to about 11%, so not much further to go.
They're still breathing the same air that they started with when the sub dove a day ago. But there is an option.
What we're trying to do now is work our way up to the northeast into an area where they won't expect us to be, and we expect to be able to basically run the engines while dived for a long period, get our batteries back up, and get ready to tangle with them again tomorrow.
But until they can get to safe territory, they need to lay low. That means using glow sticks to conserve energy.
We've got all the lights that we don't consider to be essential turned off.
Air on board is circulated through a CO2 scrubber, which uses soda lime to trap CO2 through a chemical reaction. Too much CO2 can be toxic, so they keep the levels low and safe. If the oxygen gets dangerously low, the crew will use oxygen candles. A cylinder of potassium that, when burned, releases oxygen into the air. They'll burn for about 70 minutes. But these oxygen candles are fast becoming a relic. Modern nuclear subs have oxygen generators which use electrolysis to extract oxygen from seawater. After the sub has slipped away for a much-needed snort, it gets back in the hunt. The weapon of choice? The Mark 48 heavyweight torpedo. It's carried by all U.S. subs.
Wire-guided for over-the-horizon capabilities.
Incredibly accurate and lethal. They can hit targets up to 20 miles away. The Mark 48 is tethered to the submarine by a fine copper wire. And as it races after its target, this wire is linked to the fire control computer system.
If what you're shooting at's beside you, you can turn her to the left or right, go right at them.
Submariners prefer to shoot from close range, about a half a mile. Targets can hear the burst of pressurized air that launches a torpedo from the shaft. And with enough lead time, they can actually outrun the torpedo. The captain has several ways to fire the smart weapon. He could fire the Mark 48 and enable its active sonar, making it a sound-seeking torpedo. But going active can give up the torpedo's position and give the target an opportunity to evade it. The preferred method is to enter data gathered from the sonar into the fire control computer and pre-program the torpedo to steer itself into the ship, catching it totally off guard. This is called the firing solution, the computer-generated path to an explosive destination. The Ojibwa approaches its moment of truth, a chance to sucker punch the enemy into oblivion. Coming up on the tech of a submarine, the moment a sub zeroes in on a target and fires. Firing at a target. That's what a submarine is all about. Its technology, its mode of travel, and its crews are tailored to achieve that end. On a sub, the flip of that switch is a big deal. And with a clear understanding of everything that goes into it, it's time to dissect the sub's moment of truth. The sub has taken on enough water to initiate the dive. Its hydroplanes have directed it on a controlled descent to its desired depth, where the ballast tanks are set to create neutral buoyancy. The sub is running on whatever battery power it gathered from its last snort. The pinging of the target's active sonar tells the captain the sub is being monitored. The sub ducks under a layer of ocean where the changes in density, temperature, and salinity break up the sonic pings, throwing the target off its trail. A sonar operator listens closely to the skimmer, checking for signature cavitation levels and other sound elements that tell him it's a target. Not so much as a peep is heard. Because this is a training exercise, the torpedo man won't load a Mark 48. But he floods the torpedo shaft in preparation for the mock attack. The sub is within a mile of the target, so there's not enough time for evasive maneuvers. The target's coordinates are entered into the fire control computer. This is the firing solution needed to set a smart weapon on its path to destruction.
Up at 3, 4, 5, and 6 tube individual hot runs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The compressed air fires its blank or water shot. And in the world of tactical training, a skimmer just got a quick lesson in what it's like to be hit by an Oberon-class sub. The Ojibwa has fulfilled her purpose, utilizing technology to see its way through darkness and evade trolling threats, zeroing in and eliminating the target.